Okay, I guess we're live. Oh, I should probably put this OBS away. Yeah, so I just wanted to do a quick recap video while I have some time. So Fort Myers just completed, and I managed to take second place in the event. Um, it was put on by this new series called Reborn Circuit, and I just wanted to say it was a really cool event, very professionally done. It was in a really nice venue at it was like a hotel conference center. It kind of reminded me of the old Upper Deck days and Konami days of um, what an official event looks like. So just want to give a shout out to them. Their website's retroreborncircuit.com. This is kind of what it looked like. Fortunately, a guy named Jeff Campbell, sent me a message on Facebook leading up to the event, probably like 3 weeks ago, asked me if I was going, and it was the first I had heard of it. So um, I'm glad he sent that to me. My buddy Ben Tulsa Champ, he also flew out from Texas a few days. He made the decision to fly out a few days prior to the event, and we drove down there together. I was like an hour away. I'm in Florida, so it was an easy event for me to attend. Yeah, so just want to do a quick recap and congrats to the guy who won. His name was, well, I think it was like Richie something, but he was from Puerto Rico. It was his anniversary, and really cool dude. Actually, we can actually look at his deck list from the event. I'm pretty sure. Um, Circ it stops. His website's a little interesting to navigate. Um, Circuit leaderboard, event standings. This is gonna be old stuff, I think. This isn't gonna be what I want. Yeah, it's a little difficult to navigate this website. Um, Maybe if you're not logged in, it makes it harder. Um, I don't want to waste too much time. I would pull up his list, but whatever. Um, yeah, so I just wanted to make a quick video recap. Yeah, so the week leading up to the event, so this current week, me and my friend Ben, we basically just test played probably like an hour and a half a day leading up to the event. Fortunately, he wanted me to test Rescue Cat against him, which turned out to be like really nice because like it gave me insight on how to beat the deck, and also it gave me insight into the deck actually being good and taking it seriously. I think it kind of seemed like it's a better deck than Reasoning Gate. It seemed a bit more consistent than Reasoning Gate. I feel RGT kind of beats itself a bit too much, and out of the sample I played with the cat deck, even being kind of a complete noob with it, it seemed to like pop off fairly consistently, and I think it should be taken more seriously. So I ended up siding for it, and kind of came into play. So I guess first I'll just pull up my deck list. This is what I ran. Basically, it's a it's very close to Anthony Alvarado's list that he won Worlds with. Like this is Anthony Alvarado's list. If you look at it, like my main deck is literally one card different. I just swapped Dust Shoot for Torrential, which was a decision I made last minute. Basically, one thing that always kind of annoys me about GOAT format is when you're against Chaos decks, it's such a challenge to deal with Magician of Faith popping off. And I kind of had to make a decision because I expected a lot of Chaos Control in this event, but yeah, I expected a lot of Chaos Control, so I wanted to have Torrential in the main because think that's a decent answer for decks that have a lot of monsters on the field, like Scapegoat. Being able to clear them with a board wipe is kind of nice. But at the same time, Dust Shoot kind of hedges because Torrential's not the best against Turbo, but Dust Shoot's good against Turbo, and it can be good against Chaos Control because you can snipe like a Serpent, a Faith, a BLS out of their hand, and that can be pretty critical. And also, you just get information, which is not always super relevant, but I felt like um, both were going to be like good cards, and ultimately, I just felt like there was a few too many times where I just wish I had something to get like a card out of my opponent's hand. But I was definitely like a little nervous doing that. As far as the side deck goes, I kind of took inspiration from Insids. I don't know how to say his name, but he seems to be like a pretty solid goat player. I also kind of took some inspiration from his deck. Like I like his list overall. It seems quite good. It seems like a solid 40. I made some minor edits where I just dropped card destruction for a second book, and then dropped the Night Assailants for like Deco and Faith, which is I guess kind of what Anthony Alvarado did originally. But I drew inspiration from both of those lists, um, and I kind of went more with like the traditional side deck. And if you see like my list is like my side deck is very similar. I just am not rocking the walk. Um, Part of that's because I didn't have walk. I was trying to get walks for the event, but I just wasn't able to source any, um, because I didn't know about the event until last minute, and I assumed I would just know somebody who would have some, but that turned out to not be the case. So I wasn't fully prepared for the event, to be fair. So yeah, I was rocking without the walks, and it was kind of okay with me because it gave me some space to put in the torrential into the main or into the side. So I ended up dropping walk for torrential and solemn, and then I put in Kribo over threatening roar from the instead list. So basically, part of the reason again I failed to find threatening roar, but I wasn't too concerned about that because I kind of like Kribo against Cat and Stein because it's a dark searchable monster, which is kind of nice. Um, Hollowed Life Barrier and Threatening Roar might be argued to be better than Kribo, but Kribo is nice because it does allow my opponent to commit to the field. Um, I suppose it also depends on the type of cat deck you're playing against. Some use Dust Shoot, so that would definitely make Kribo a bit worse. But at the same time, if they trinade you first and you chain Roar, they can also not pop off. So I guess you just can't have everything in life. You have to pick your poison. Um, yeah, and then Solemn, I chose to play a one of Solemn, which was debatable. Um, Kind of the reasoning being is I find Solemn is pretty good against combo decks. If you can stop like a power play, um, they play Last Will, you Solemn, they're capped, they're exiled, and they don't have like a premature. That can be like game ending. Um, and yeah, against like reasoning gate, if you stop a crucial card like a Trinade, etc. Like Solemn can come in pretty clutch. And then I ended up playing a second Dust Tornado mainly because I just didn't have enough discard fodder to rock a third Geki Break. Um, Maybe you could just play the third Geki Break because it's so universal and it is good against Chaos Control. But again, I wasn't main decking Night Assailant, so I just felt like playing three was a bit too much. And like I've always been a huge fan of Geki Break. Like if you remember back to the first GGP I won, I played three Geki Break just because it's so versatile. It's a card that can deal with like a face on faith and stuff, which I do like. But I kind of just liked the monster count in this list. I really like playing 3 Deco because it's such a strong turn one play. You just instantly get that draw, you get that dark, you get something that you can apply like a little bit of pressure. If your opponent doesn't have a spy, they can they have to deal with it, or otherwise you can kind of keep attacking over and over. So Deco is kind of nice. I considered not playing Mirror in the main as well, but the only card I'd probably want to play over Mirror would be like a third Geki Break. But again, since I don't have as many discard fodders, I decided against that. I was considering playing a third Book of Moon in the event, and part of the reason I went with double, which I think was like a key decision in this event, was I was expecting a lot of Chaos Control. Chaos Control has been dominating in events lately, so I just anticipated a lot of people playing it. Um, Funny enough, I didn't face a single Chaos Control all event, but I was ready for it. So I guess kudos to me on that somehow. But but yeah, so this is a list, and I guess there's not really much more to talk about. I kind of went over everything. Overall, I liked it. Assure Priest definitely put in work. Super good against the combo decks that play Scapegoat. It would have been very nice against any cast control variants. Oh yeah, I will say the Kribo though, like there was a really cool play I liked with Kribo that gives it a bit of an edge over like a roar is that it's searchable. I had one game against Rescue Cat where I turn one summoned Sangan, turn and then like pitched a Thunder Dragon, and then turn two I was able to tribute the Sangan, search a Kribo from my deck, so then I instantly had uh, OTK protection against a cat player. Um, yeah, so that was pretty cool. It was also really nice that I had tested so heavily with cat this week leading up to the event because um, the um, because I ended up playing against cat, I guess is what I was trying to say. And what I learned like through that week was what hurt me is when people got really aggressive in your face really early. If you don't start with the strong hand OTK, you need some time to draw cards, especially the swag variant. And if you don't have like a scapegoat or something, you just run them down. So fortunately, the cat player I played against, which is something else I learned is a downside of those types of decks is he had been feature matched multiple times, so I already knew what he was playing going into the match, which obviously impacted game one because since I knew what he was playing, um, instead of setting Deco, I was just like turn one, just summoning it and attacking with it because I knew I needed to apply as much pressure on him as possible early as possible. And that definitely like I think that made a big impact on that outcome. And had I not practiced leading up to it, like I would have had no idea. But anyways, yeah. So I guess that's the big stuff. Shout out to Retro Reborn Circuit. Um, Let me see if I can find the dude who won because he was a really nice guy. And honestly, like, um, I think he just deserved to win the game. I really don't play that much, and he seems like somebody who's like really passionate about the game, and he came all the way from Puerto Rico with his wife on their anniversary, who he also met through Yu-Gi-Oh, which I thought was really cool. Um, um, yeah, they had pictures of him on like the Retro Reborn Instagram, which I don't use Instagram, so I guess I can't pull up a photo of him. But yeah, he was basically running Cast Turbo, um, but he was also rocking Wing Blast and triple Solemn in his list. I assume that this is visible-ish on the camera. Let me see. Is that visible? Yeah, kind of. But yeah, he's running a unique list. I mean, I like the Solemn concept. I considered playing Solemn in the main myself, but ultimately I decided against it. Which actually brings me up to one last point I'll make, and then I'll just wrap this up because it's probably not that interesting to hear me talk about this. But I kind of think in Cast Turbo, just playing Triple Jar is just staple. I could be proven wrong, if I played more and more, maybe I would change my mind. But it just feels like Triple Jar, Double Upstart, and I kind of think like Triple Deco, Triple Faith, Triple Spy is just the way to go. And the reason I say that is like Deco, Spy, both just thin your deck. Like they just make your deck smaller, right? They kind of function like a Thunder Dragon. They fill your graveyard with what you need, um, and that thinning effect has a compounding effect, right? Like every time you like one of these gets knocked, you take three out of your deck, right? Your deck is now two cards smaller. That means every draw has a greater impact of hitting a graceful duo pot, right? Same thing with Jarg Reeds. Um, every time you activate one, you not only remove a card from your deck, you're also increasing the odds of drawing a Trinity piece or a BLS. You have a percentage of hitting one, and then it also removes a card from the deck, so it increases the percentage further. Um, and I feel like in this format, these cards are so overpowered relative to the other cards that just seeing them more often is really impactful. And then having access to Magician of Faith early and quick and often and frequently, um, just seems so good. Like I don't know. Every time I play Go, I love playing Three Faith. It just seems very overpowered. And then also, um, the Book of Moons have just so much synergy with all of the powerful flips. Like Book, has some synergy with Knight and Silent, but I feel like it's more versatile to be able to book your Deco Spy's Faith. It can just have like a lot of high impact, rather than just like up downing a Knight Assailant. And like, you know, a Faith combined with a book can be very similar in function to a Knight Assailant, and in the sense that Faith can just get back Nobleman, but it can all which can get rid of a face down in turn, which is better because it gets removed. But you also have the option of Duo, Graceful, Pot, etc. I kind of think Master Darkness could be low key underrated as well. Like I know that Ghost Rider guy seems to really like it, and he kind of seems like he's probably onto something there. Um, but yeah, anyways, I guess I'll just wrap up there. Shout out to Retro, Reborn Circuit.com. Definitely check out their events. Like this first event seemed amazing. Um, like it just took me back to the old days. It was super professionally done. The rounds are really well done, and honestly, it was cool too. It was my first time using this. They use a TopDeck.gg app where like each round they send you your pairings to your phone, so you get notified on your phone where to sit. You don't have to like go through a crowd and like look through a paper list and smell everyone's bo. You just go straight to your table. You're good. It's efficient. They're 45-minute rounds, which I appreciated. That 5 extra minutes is really helpful. I managed to not go to time a single time all event, which was something I really tried to do. I did not want to go to time. I hate time, and I wish they would make it 50. Like a dream world would be 60 minutes, which is probably just unreasonable because they need to get things done from an operation standpoint. But 50 minutes would be like a magical world for me because it would allow me to like relax a little bit more. But regardless, they're doing a good job, and they actually have an event coming up in Atlanta, actually, which I will be attending because A, it's not too far from me, and B, I got a free entry for getting second place in this event. Um, yeah, so I guess with that, I will wrap. Peace.